David Kustoff is with us. He represents the 8th Congressional District in the state of Tennessee. And to tell us what he thought about the presidential address last night, he joins us on the Matt Murphy Hotline. Congressman, good afternoon. Hope you're well.
Hey, good afternoon to you, Matt. Thank you very much. Yeah, I was going in thinking I would be really impressed with President Trump. I came away so impressed that he had such a command of all the facts. And, you know, I was watching him like so many people thinking he's been president now for 43, 44 days, and all the things that he's been able to accomplish in that very short period of time on all the issues that he campaigned about in 2024. And so I thought that his command of the issues, his explaining what he's done and what the administration stands for, and talking about restoring America to that golden age and making America great again, I thought it was a good night for the country, a good night for the House of Representatives and the United States Senate, and a good night for the American people.
You know, Congressman, of all of the things that he discussed last night, many of them were a return to his first administration, whether it be immigration, economy, energy, tariffs, foreign entanglements, trying to extract us from some of those. A lot of those were kind of, hey, let's get back to what we had going prior really to the COVID-19 pandemic and then the unfortunate election process of 2020. But it occurred to me last night watching the speech, the big new piece is his focus. And I suppose that a first-term president might have a difficult time focusing on this because it is a volatile, emotional situation, and it's easily vilified. I'm talking about cutting spending in the federal government, the effort on the part of DOJ, and the effort to encourage Congress to continue that by codifying some of these cuts as their budget process moves forward. How excited are you about this, and how difficult a task is this, considering how easy it is for the Democrats to kind of wag their fingers and try to vilify the process?
So you're right on the last part. They are upset. They're, at least the elected officials, the Democrats, that is, wagging their fingers. But when I'm home, people talk about that they're concerned about the massive federal spending. And so when Donald Trump can stand at the podium last night and give specific examples of, I don't care if you're a Republican, Democrat, Whig, whatever, the crazy spending on crazy items that it upsets most American people, certainly the people in my district, and that's just a spoonful of the spending that has gone on. You know, today the national debt, not the spending part, the debt is almost $37 trillion. And one thing that I've noticed that's different now in the last few years than when I was first elected in 2016, people do talk a lot about the spending and about the debt. And so to have Elon Musk, who was in the House chamber last night, as many people saw on TV, come in these first 40-something days and expose things that most American people had no idea was going on, and common sense ways of how to save that money that's been going out the door. I've got to believe that most people across West Tennessee and across the nation are sitting there and they're clapping. They appreciate that Donald Trump and Elon Musk and others have shown this and shine a light to the American people.
It's difficult to name just one, but in the first 43 days, as he stood before the American people last night, it was 43. Today, it's 44. What do you put your finger on as the issue that you would point to that you're most happy with? Would it be economy? Would it be immigration? Would it be, Ukraine, Russia? I mean, is there any one that you could point to, David?
You know, when President Trump was with Republican congressmen just a few weeks ago, he told us that his advisor said, you need to focus your number one issue on the economy and inflation. And he said he contradicted them and told them when he was out with people, he felt like it was the border and illegal immigration. Mm-hmm. And so if you agree with that, and I think across our state, if that's with people, that's not the number one issue, it's number two. the number of encounters that we saw during the Biden administration at the southern border and the northern border, but it's over 10 million during those 4 years, and the tremendous drop-off in the migration from illegal immigrants over these first 40-something days. You talked about the number like last night. To me, that's incredible, and it's a combination of his leadership. It's a combination of the messaging to people who want to cross the border illegally, unlawfully, that there's going to be heck to pay if they do that. The tariffs and the threat of tariffs that he made against Mexico, where Mexico stood up and said, you know what, we are going to patrol our side of the border and put armed forces and military and police so that people can't cross from Mexico to the United States. The message to those who are here illegally, that if we haven't already gotten a hold of you and apprehended you and taken you back across the border, that we're going to do that. To me, that may be the most significant, because it's certainly the most dramatic in terms of the reduction of numbers across our southern border.
We saw today in the halls of Congress several mayors from around the country, to include Brandon Johnson out of Chicago, Mike Johnston out of Denver, attempting to at least the quote-unquote sanctuary city status within their states, and doing a pretty poor job of it. I don't know. I know that you don't control Memphis. I think Memphis, probably more than any other city in the state of Tennessee, is kind of, I wouldn't say that they're straight up a sanctuary city. Maybe they are. I don't know what Paul Young's policy is over there, but have you noticed a change in activity from Immigration and Customs Enforcement? Have you noticed that there is a more aggressive approach in Memphis? Because I would suggest that of all the cities in the state of Tennessee, it's probably the one that was most pushing back the most against Trump policies.
Well, I know, Matt, that talking to my sheriffs and police chiefs in West Tennessee, they have told me that since January 20th, ICE has been reaching out to them. They have had more engagement with ICE and Homeland Security in these few weeks that President Trump has been president than they did in the 4 years. And Homeland Security and ICE want to work with local and state law enforcement to try to identify and remove people, and they have. And that's also true to some extent with law enforcement in Shelby County. I think that we're fortunate. I'm a former United States attorney. I look in Memphis and in my other counties. We have really good sheriffs and police chiefs, and they're trying to do the right thing, also including in Memphis. So I think everybody's playing on the same page. Everybody's singing the same tune, and they want to make sure that they comply with President Trump's directive that we remove the worst of the worst who are here illegally from our communities.
Congressman David Kustoff, our guest for a few more moments of the 8th Congressional District in the state of Tennessee, giving us his postmortem, if you will, about the presidential address to a joint session of Congress. The Democrats are increasingly shrill. The best word I can come up with, David. You were there last night. Was it as bad in the body as it seemed on television? Obviously, Congressman Al Green throws a hissy fit. Some other Democrats are holding up little, I describe them as auctioneer paddles, where they seem to be bidding on things all night. Was it as bad in the room as it seemed?
Well, there's no doubt that the Democrats were disruptive, and I've got to tell you, from what I understand, the Democrat leader in the House, Hakeem Jeffries, was cautioning his members, don't be disruptive, don't make a scene, don't do anything that's going to draw attention, let President Trump say what he needs to say. I'm summarizing, but that's what I understand he did. And then we all saw Congressman Al Green engage with the president, be disruptive, be disrespectful. You have never seen that in a presidential State of the Union or address like you did last night. And so, as it is right now in the House of Representatives, there is debate going on about censuring Congressman Al Green for his actions last night after he had to be removed. the other thing that I noticed, and I think people saw this on TV, President Trump said a number of things. I understand some Democrats may not be supportive of some of the conservative policies, but he also talked about a number of just real common sense initiatives. And, if I can, recognizing the guests, some of whom were real heroes, like that border agent, but there was no Democrat reaction. Nobody on their side stood up for that man who sacrificed, was willing to sacrifice his life for his fellow officers, for his fellow agents, and for this country, and for that little brave young man, that 13-year-old boy who has brain cancer, to not stand up for him. And I've got to tell you that I was surprised when the director of the Secret Service commissioned that 13-year-old boy as an honorary agent, and everybody on our side, the Republican side of the aisle, just applauded and were so proud. And I looked across the aisle from me, and they're just sitting on their hands. So, to me, I think the rest of the country saw that, and I've got to believe if you watched it, regardless of your party or whether you're an independent, you can't look at the Democrats and say I'm proud of them and I identify with them. So, to me, the real winner last night was Donald Trump, because he talked about the issues that he's been talking about for so long when he was campaigning. He talked about how he's executed on his policies and what he needs Congress to do, and he looked and sounded presidential.
Well, I couldn't agree more. One quick thought on Ukraine and Russia. Over the past week, a lot of movement on that. Are you pleased with where we're getting to? It seems like a mineral rights deal is only just a matter of time, and after that, perhaps Europe steps up to the plate with their security guarantees. We'll have financial guarantees as well, and it seems like we are on our way to getting a ceasefire going.
I think we're on the right track, and from what I understand, we were on the right track Friday with that mineral rights deal,
right,
until everything blew up. And so I also understand, and I'm sure people have seen the reporting on this, that Zelensky met with Republican senators, maybe some Democrat senators also prior to that White House meeting, and they kind of gave him guidance, if you will, about what to do and say with President Trump in front of the cameras, behind the cameras, and to get the deal done, and to walk out a hero. And obviously, he didn't take that advice. Even one of his closest allies, Lindsey Graham, afterwards called on him to resign. Zelensky, that is, to resign. But the letter that President Trump cited last night from Zelensky, I think, is encouraging, and it looks like we're on the verge of getting that deal done for the mineral rights, for the European nations to step up and do their part in that part of the world, and let's get an end to this war.